been here 15, 16 years. This is our home, this is like a family.
Cafe owner Detlef Haupt managed to keep his business afloat despite the huge losses in trade from COVID-19.
We are back to almost near capacity, not quite. Obviously we don't have the international tourists, but we have the local support and the landlord's been very accommodating. And once we need to pay our full cost in everything, absolutely we'll be under financial stress. It's not necessarily only the financial loss, but it's the human loss. You know, you see your staff lose, so good staff, it's hard to get. And once you train them and see them leaving, it's heartbroken.
During the months of lockdown, he took some comfort knowing his insurance policy included business disruption cover. But he was shocked to discover that his insurance company, Zurich, is refusing to pay the claim.
I think we should be absolutely covered for that. We talk hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Zurich argues that pandemics are not covered by its business interruption policy.
We thought, no, it's just not right. It doesn't smell right.
Their policy covers them for loss of profit, and one of the grounds on which they can claim is if there's been an infectious disease outbreak in the area, right? But their policy excludes cover if the outbreak has been declared a quarantinable disease under the Quarantine Act.
Lawyer John Beryl says Zurich is relying on a reference to outdated public health laws in the fine print of its policy. Those laws define what constitutes a pandemic, but they were updated 5 years ago.
The problem for the insurance company is COVID-19 is not a quarantinable disease declared under the Quarantine Act. It's a human infectious disease declared under the Biosecurity Act. We've got 15 cases at various stages of rejection at the moment, and that's the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of businesses out there. If these claims are not paid, then a significant number of businesses are going to go to the wall.
Pandemics are something that have never been contemplated for cover, simply because they're too large an event. It's almost impossible to price them.
The peak body for insurers in Australia is refusing to budge. It argues the reference to old legislation still had the intention of excluding pandemics from cover.
I think insurers would acknowledge that it would be a lot cleaner if the Act had been referenced correctly in policies, but they've always referred to the Quarantine Act and subsequent amendments, and relying on the fact that acts are amended and updated and repealed and replaced all the time.
The Insurance Council of Australia brought a test case to the New South Wales Supreme Court in August.
It was a 5-0 result in the Court of Appeal, rejecting the insurer's argument that the Biosecurity Act was an amendment to the Quarantine Act.
Now it wants the High Court to rule on the issue, with billions of dollars at stake.
If the exclusion around the Quarantine Act and subsequent amendments was to be knocked out by the High Court appeal, the industry estimates around 250,000 claims may need to be paid. That could represent up to $10 billion in payments.
While the legal drama unfolds, other small businesses that don't have the outdated definition in their insurance policies have been left waiting.
You can see every colour of the spectrum.
Damien Cody's been in the opal business for almost 50 years. The collapse in international tourism has forced him to close his 2 gem stores in Sydney and Melbourne.
We've gone from a retail business doing between $3.5–4 million per annum to almost zero.
His insurance does include pandemics in its business interruption policy, but he still hasn't seen a cent.
It really irks me that our company's paying all this money for something that seems black and white. And insurers, I think, have an obligation to handle these claims quickly, efficiently, and thoughtfully and honestly. You can see this big guy here is a large piece of black opal.
His insurer, Lloyd's, says he's not covered because his stores weren't ordered to close by the government lockdown, and the economic loss he suffered was not directly linked to an outbreak of COVID-19 within 20 kilometres of his store. What will happen if you don't get this money?
It'll be the end of a business that's 50 years old, that's for sure.
As this legal battle draws on, it has caught the attention of Australia's financial regulators. ASIC has released a statement telling the industry it must pay valid claims.
I think insurers will wait for the court outcome. Otherwise, they'd be setting a precedent for making payments for policies for which premiums were never collected for.
Every day that this thing goes on, we're losing truckloads of money.
I'm not going anywhere and I will fight.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.